Uh, so let me first. I came to know about this while I was searching for some work on basically Spring and related technology or Boots or something where I can work and learn and I can contribute. That's how I came to this site. And then I was going through different projects and things like that. So mostly I found that it is related to Ruby Rails, and this was the only project where it was mentioned somewhere Java.
Yeah.
So, and high level, what it said is it is like a job portal where client can place their job requirement, and the person can apply for that job. That's what I have read so far.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. So MetPlus is a nonprofit organization in Michigan, Detroit, in the United States, and they basically are employment agency. So what they do for not really for a living, but let's call it for a living, they help people find jobs, and
So
they help companies.
is it a live project already, or it is still a work in progress?
Yeah, it will be live. So we're just doing the last things now, and I hope that we can go live next week. And people, this is going to be just for now, like a little bit of proof of concept, where we have everything built and we are going to ship it, and we'll start having people using the site and everything, because this is a project that started almost 2 years ago. I think 2 years. Yeah, plus was 2 years. So, and we've just been developing. We didn't do anything with it. So now we are trying to push to to to.
Okay.
So hopefully next week we'll start having some on the site for entering the site and doing stuff. So maybe I'll start just with just a simple review of the project itself,
Okay.
and what the project looks like in terms of architecture, and then we can talk a little bit, and we can go through a little bit on the setting up the environment and things like that. So I'm going to share my screen now. Yeah, let's show my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Cool. So under the documentations page, there's like a bunch of information about MetPlus and the system itself. And under the MetPlus project overview, there is some overview talking a little bit about the 5 main actors that are the job seekers, people that are looking for jobs. Case manager, job developers are two jobs that are part of the employment agency. One is responsible for searching for jobs for a specific user, for a specific job seeker, and to help companies find job seekers, and that's the job developer. The case manager is the person that is responsible inside the agency for a group of job seekers, and his job or her job is to basically try to it's like the first line of entry, and his job is to try to groom the job seeker and try to, if he needs to do some training, try to help him. So the case manager is more focused on the job seeker itself. Then we have the employer. That's someone from a company that will employ people. And then there's the auditor. That will be an external entity that will be able to see a bunch of information about the agency, to see if the agency is working as expected, and how is the hiring percentage, and so on. So it's This is more like a requirement of for this to be accepted as like for a full state. For the state of Michigan, they will need to have this access.
So one question here. So who decides about this requirement? Is it that you come up with these things, or
Oh,
you
no,
decide
no,
client and
no.
then?
Sorry. So basically, all the requirements came from our client. Our client is called Chat, and he's the responsible for the idea behind all this system is his, and he's the one that is driving this product forward from MetPlus side. I am the let's call it like I'm project managing in the Agile Ventures side, and also I'm the only developer on the Java side, and also did some developing on the Rails side. So that's more or less how this works. So Chat comes up with requirements, and they will have a meeting with him every 2 weeks, and we'll try to see what's the most important thing, and we'll go for that. So, did this answer your question?
Yes. So one question you answered that we have a client. I didn't get the name because uh, uh, and so this two every 2 weeks that you are discussing about, you or the team here discusses with the client every 2 weeks. That's what you're saying.
Yes, we have so we are let's call it, we are using a Scrum and Agile to develop. So we have every 2 weeks client meetings where we show the client what we did in the previous 2 weeks, and then we talk about to see if we have any questions or anything, and talk about what we will do more or less in the next couple of weeks, the next 2 weeks. So this is like the Scrum, more or less, way of doing things. But the only thing we're missing is just going live, and I think we'll fix that soon. Cool. Any other question?
No, not at the moment.
Cool. So here we have like a little bit more of the features that we. So this document was created 9 months ago, or updated 9 months ago, and I think I just updated some links. This was like the original document that I wrote from after talking to the client and to present this project to Agile Ventures before it started. And so these are like some of the features that we talked about with the client. And the solution that we came up with was something similar to this, where we have the user will have there's an application that is a front end, and then this application is built in Rails and uses a Postgres database as the database itself. And then it talks through a REST API to another service that is responsible for just a simple thing, and that's just crunching the resumes and the job descriptions, and then store them in its database. So basically, every time that the application requires a resume or needs to see if the job seeker matches the job description or something, it will do a request to this other application in order to get that information. So this application here is written in Java and has a backend of MongoDB. And we are currently using Spring Boot, and I really don't remember which version of Spring Boot, but I updated it like maybe 3 months ago. So yeah.
No, I was saying I'm also new to Spring Boot, but just example projects and all those things I have written, a very small thing. So Spring Boot, I am also new to that.
Okay, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So basically, there is some more information. So the CV Cruncher and storage.
Okay, you okay, same thing. So I was just going to ask the two application that is depicted here. Which one is Cruncher here? I think left one, right?
So the right one that says web application in the square, it's the
Mm.
Rails application and it's the front end.
Okay.
And then the one that says resume web interface, it's the one that's basically Java.
So our
And
REST APIs are here in resume web interface.
yes,
Okay.
so and it says a little description up here and says that Java receives the metadata, retrieves the metadata from the resumes and Spring, Java Spring to create the web services interface. And this is Ruby on Rails on the right side.
Okay.
So it has like a very small description here of a little bit technologies and stuff. And then a little bit talk about the Cruncher, not much. And then the tools that we currently are using. So in this repository, the first one that's called Pets. Pets is the name of the application. MetPlus is the name of the client. In here we have, in this repository, we have all the Rails applications related to things related to the Rails application, all the code. And in the MetPlus Resume Cruncher, we have all the Java code of basically the Resume Cruncher.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also all our, the next link here is Waffle. I don't know if you ever looked at Waffle, but Waffle is basically where we store all our features and all our stories, and they are all here.
Okay, something like Kanban that is Kanban board.
Yeah, similar to Kanban board. Yes. Um, so they fly. The flow is left to right, where we have the backlog on the left side
Mm-hmm.
that has all the some of them are pointed. The stories you can see points here.
Mm-hmm.
This like the number 2. If we open this story, the cross browser testing, it has a size of 2, so it has 2 points. But usually on the backlog, we have ordered, not pointed stories. When we have something that we want to point, we will usually move it to the Spring Creation, let's call it band or swim lane. And when it's pointed, we will usually move it to the ready column, and people can pick it up and just follow the normal flow. So as soon as we start working on a task, we assign ourselves to the task, and then we just move the task into in progress. And using pull requests, the rest of the flow is done by GitHub.
Okay.
So yeah, so let's take a look now a little bit more in detail of our Cruncher. So our Cruncher project is a, let me open IntelliJ, maybe it's easier to see it here. So this is a Gradle project. I'm not sure if you ever used Gradle before.
Yeah, I have heard, but I have not used it.
Okay, so it's I'm not gonna say better or worse than Maven. It's different. It's a completely different way to do things. But and has a, in my point of view, thing that's better than Maven. You can have sub-projects inside your own project, and you can have everything there living in the same folder without having to publish stuff separately. So in our case, we have a big repository. Contains 5 different submodules. They will be, oh, sorry, the settings. That contain, these are the submodules that we currently have. We have a submodule that takes care of the database, another one that takes care of the app, one that is responsible for the core, some core functionalities, and then we currently have 2 crunchers. We're using both of them.
One more question here. So, are you using? Oh, this is IntelliJ. Okay.
Yes.
ID IntelliJ. So, but it should work on Spring Tool also, STS.
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
it's not bound to IntelliJ. I'm just showing you IntelliJ because that's what I usually use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
IntelliJ
it's
generally is generally it is easier to build and work with IntelliJ compared to STS. Okay. Yeah.
okay, cool. So let's start maybe looking into the app.
One second. You said there are three modules, right? Or five
We
modules?
have 5 modules. We have
Five.
that are like the core of the application. One is called database that takes care of everything that is database related. So
Okay.
this is the interface to Mongo. One is the app that is basically the web interface.
Mm-hmm.
There is another one that's core,
Mm-hmm.
where we store all our interfaces and things like that, and some generic configurations. So we have
Okay.
like a bunch of interfaces and stuff here. And then we have two other, one that's called Expression Cruncher and another one that's called Naive-Based Classifier. These two are the ones that, given a resume, they are able to get their own database. Oh, sorry, get the metadata. So 1 second. Let me just paste in the link. And so so these two are two different implementations of the same of a cruncher. One that's very, despite this one being called naive, this one is the naive one that basically just given a bunch of words that's a resume. Basically, it just counts the number of words and then it
So
matches stuff around.
you are
This one
breaking.
uses.
You are breaking completely. I'm not able to
Sorry.
get.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what I was saying is we have these two crunchers here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one, the expression cruncher, is the one that's the simplest. That basically, given a group of words,
Mm-hmm.
tries to classify the document using just counts the number of occurrences of expressions or words, and then see which one is more relevant. This naive base uses the algorithm naive base to do the same thing. So it's a little bit smarter because it uses probabilities underneath it and so on.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Let's see if Ashish join us. Okay, so if you'll join us, let's see. Yeah, cool. So let's go into the app. And so the app is structured in 4 different packages. One package is the API that basically, I think this will be deprecated soon enough, but we will, for now, this was just responsible for storing the version of the API, like the URL. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Ashish?
Yeah.
Cool, nice to meet you. So I already started with Raj, and I'm just giving him a walkthrough, more or less through the code, and we are going to look at the app, and then I'm going to try to get in the last maybe 10 minutes talk a little bit about the setup. But I'll have this this video on YouTube, and I can share the link so you can follow through everything. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so as I was saying, the app itself is as for packages. One, that's the API that's just there for now. Oh, so I was talking about the API. So currently we have two versions of the API. So if we go into uh, MetPlus, so in this URL you'll have the documentation of the API. And as you can see, we have the URLs. We have version 1 and also version 2. Let me see if I can find an example of the version 2 URL. Version 2. So this was done previously with this. This is going to be deprecated. So the process package just takes care in the background, takes care of crunching the resumes and the job descriptions. So it's like a thread, a pool of threads that is underneath the application that is just crunching everything, so we don't have to wait for it. Security is just to implement security on the website to make sure only people that know the password can access, and then it sends back a token. And basically, this is like mimicking Spring Boot security. It's more or less the same thing, the same behavior. But
Okay.
I implemented myself because I didn't want to have the dependency of all the Spring security bring together because I just want to go on my side. And then the web. This is where all the interface, all the web interface is present. So we have currently three controllers. One is the administration controller, where you can update the information from the cruncher, where you can change the words that need to be counted and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
You can just take a look here. We have a jobs controller that are taking care of the jobs. And so someone was asking something.
No, I just
Okay, cool. So the jobs controller, it's basically responsible for receiving all the jobs related requests. And
Hello,
these
John.
jobs, sorry, what?
Yeah, if you don't mind, can I say something? Actually, your voice is being blurring so much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I could not understand what did you say. I mean, your voice is being very blurring. So I think there's some kind of problem related to some. I think some audio kind of problem.
I don't know. Maybe I'm also hearing you guys with some cuts. I'm hoping that the YouTube version will be better than this. That will have everything. Okay. So if we can't, if we need to do this another time. Talk again if the recording is not that good. Is it okay? Hello.
so I think he's also facing the same problem that I was facing. Your voice is breaking actually. We are not able to hear you clearly. So we are concentrating very hard to make out what you are trying to say.
Okay. So as I was saying, let's hope that the YouTube version is better than this live. Okay.
Okay.
And we can see if it's not, and you guys can always ask questions on Slack to me, and as soon as I can, I'll answer to you, or we can just have another hangout and talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm just giving like the overview itself of the application, but there are tests around everything. And if you take a look at the test, you'll see that it's pretty small and pretty straightforward. So the so this is the controller that takes care of jobs, and there's another that takes care of the resumes and then save stuff around. So we don't have much more time. I just have like more 10 minutes. So I'll try to just look a little bit in each part, and then I'll go into the configuration itself of the application.
Okay.
So the database itself, it's just basically a bunch of repositories that represent basically tables on the not really tables, but collections inside Mongo, and some other magic that Spring requires in order to do a bunch of work for us. Then we have, let me just skip the expression cruncher because we are not using it a lot now. And we have the knife base one that is based on this package from someone else that basically implements the classification part. And our implementation here is responsible just for some wrapper around that library. And as I said before, we have this interface able for crunching string of data into cruncher metadata objects. And basically this is saved directly on the database. And also each classifier is responsible for matching after, and we have an interface that basically matches A with B and the reverse as well. So B and A. So basically, usually entry is the resume, and the result is the job description. So when you try to match a job description, it will give you a list of when you try to match a resume, you'll get a group of job descriptions. When you pass in a job description, you'll get a group of resumes. Okay.
Okay, so it works both ways.
Yes. Cool. So you guys can just dive a little bit more into the application itself. Then, so let me see if I can go a little bit through the setup process. So the two requirements that you have on the system is to have Java installed, and we're using Java 8 because we're using Java 8. I don't think we're using a lot of features from it. I don't think we're using features from specific to Java 8, but it's good to have a newer version. And MongoDB. I'll talk about the MongoDB a little bit just after. So the first thing you guys should do, if you want to look around, you can fork using this button here. And then you can clone into your machine. So let me see if I do that. Okay.
No, I just I switched off so that maybe that will make your voice clearer.
So okay, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff here. So let me share my screen again. Sorry. Cool. So I cloned it into, like, I have a workspace and I have a bunch of stuff around. But if I go into MetPlus and Resume Cruncher, we have all the code in here. So I cloned it into this particular place. I don't need that. And so after that, you can have. We need to talk a little about the database. So you can have the database if you want to install MongoDB in your machines, you can do that. If you want to have a virtual machine, you can do that. If you want to have a Docker container, you can do that. Or if you want to use a service like MLab, you also can do that. That basically you can do a database.
What is MLab?
So I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
So basically, let me see if yes, and I'm presenting to everyone. Cool. So MLab is just a place where you can store databases online, basically.
Okay.
So so you just sign in, sign up, and everything. It's pretty straightforward. So if we so if you log into MLab, you'll see that you can create a database. So you can just come here. This is like the easiest installation step. It's to create a database here, and that's it. So if you press the thunder there, and you can create like a temporary DB. We can create a private environment. Is that it? Yes, private environment. It creates a temporary database that I call temporal.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. It's my bad. It's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to press here, this thunder here. Create a new database deployment. That's what I want. Okay, so this looks much better. So we can create a database. We just need to press single node because we just want one node. And because we're testing, we just need to do sandbox up here and testing DB. And it's a free database, so we're good. We can use it. Oh, testing DB already exists. Testing DB1. Testing DB1. Oh, sandbox. And testing DB1. Let's create that. Cool. So it's in progress. Okay, it's green. So if we press on the name, we'll inside the database, and the first thing we need to do, we need to come here into users and create a new user. Like let's call it testing user, and testing user. Okay, so we created this new user, and this new user can access this database. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how to configure the database now. The information. So if you go into your application folder, there is a source, and then main resources, and application YAML. This is like a very big file that has some, in the beginning, this is some logging configuration. So if you ever need to open logs or something, you can, this is like the default YAML version. We currently are not using this. This is like a specific configuration for the expression cruncher. And then it's like the let's call it the brain of the crunchers. And this is another one where you have the database that will train the naive base brain as well. So after that, you'll see that you have like 3 dashes, and we start configuration specific for each profile. So for example, for the development profile, we are opening the logs for debug. We are telling it to use this port on the HTTP server. This is the username and login that we use to connect to the application. So if we want to do a request to the application, we need to send as username backend admin and as a password backend password. You can see all the in here you have examples of all the types of requests that you can do and how can you log in, what you need to do in order to log in. You need to do something else like this.
Okay.
So you'll get a token after, and then after you get the token, you will be able to do other operations. So in order to connect to that specific database that we had there, Let's move this here. And let's no, this one here. We don't need this. Let's remove it for now. So the user that we created is called test user. So we need to write here testing user. Oh, it's the same thing. I use the same password as the username to be this user that we created. And then the name of the database, we can find it here in this connection. So it's calling test DB1. So let's replace that. And then the host name, it's this big thing here. And the port, it's going to be this one.
Okay.
And basically this is it for the application itself. So in theory, if I do have all the libraries that I'm not sure if I do, if we press just play there, the application. This might take a little bit the first time because it's downloading all the application libraries and such. So it's starting into development mode. So you can see, like in the beginning, it tells you what's the profile here, to which database it's connecting to. In this case, it's telling me it's a database and not an URI, because we can use URIs also to connect. And then there's a bunch of information here, and it's ready, and it's started. And if we go to the database and we refresh this, you see it. Let's refresh that page. Oh, wrong. Set of keys. We have settings collection here. That just has the same information that we had in the app YAML file, application YAML file. So everything is working, everything is connected. So we're good to go.
Okay.
Let's stop this. Another way so as I said, we are using Gradle, and we have the Gradle binary here that works in Windows, Mac, and Linux altogether. The only thing we need to do is inside this folder, if we want to use the command line, we can just do Gradle and do start app. And this will download all the dependencies for us. If you don't have an IDE or we don't want to use an IDE, this will download all the dependencies for us, and it will start the application for us as well, eventually. Yeah, so I have 2 more minutes. So do you have any question? Or do you think you have enough to start looking into the application? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, at this point, I think I have enough information to start the application.
Cool.
I have questions, lot of questions, other questions, but for application specific thing, I think I am good to start. If I have any problem, helping you. There is one thing. So how does this timing thing work? You just mutually set up some time and then work on that time, or is there any other ways like fix that and you have to be there kind of?
So we don't have, like, we are a volunteer. Agile Ventures is a volunteer group. We don't like set times where people need to be here or there. When they can, they should join us. We currently have a Scrum time that there's basically just people that works in the Rails side attend,
Yeah.
and I think it's Martin Fowler, if I'm not mistaken, and eventually also the one in the afternoon on the US. I don't remember the name. Let me see if I can find it. So the ones where Patrick Bolger is, all the scrums usually are scrums that we talk about MetPlus. So yeah, I don't remember.
And this
This
Scrum,
must
I
be a
was
different week.
Okay.
Sorry?
So the Scrum timing that I was seeing, it runs for almost whole day, right?
We have 4 different scrums that try to get the majority of people in the majority of time zones. So if you join one of them and you have any question, you can ask. They might not be able to help you, but they might be able to pair with you and try to see something or try to help you out. If not, you can always ask in MetPlus. I have like 1 hour every day, and it's this here. So I'm being kicked out. So that's this 1 hour from 12:30 to 1:30 on East time to that I can pair with people. So if you have any question, just write down on Slack, and I'll try to get back to you. And if we need to sync up, I can book 1 hour, and we can talk.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think I'm not sure which time zone you are, but Ashish is in India time zone. In
I'm also
IST, I
in
think.
India time zone only.
Oh, cool. So you guys can try to pair in a time that's more suitable to you guys, and see if you can solve any problem that you have. So currently, Ashish is having some problems setting up the database connection. So I'll try to post this online and see if he can if you can solve it. If not, if you guys could sync up together and try to set up the environment together, that would be awesome.
Okay.